Our son's 8th birthday was supposed to be a good day. Instead, it was the moment I realized I'd been living in a lie so big, even the truth felt like a slap to the face. Let me set the scene. Balloons everywhere. Pizza boxes half-eaten on the kitchen counter. Toy cars on the floor. Birthday banner taped up crooked on the wall. I spent all morning trying to make the place look festive. I even baked the damn cake myself. I didn't want my son, Tyler, to feel like anything was missing, especially not family. Then she walked in. Emily, my ex-wife, dressed like she was headed to a nightclub, not a kid's party. Tight dress, heels too high for this kind of event, perfume thick enough to drown a memory. And right behind her was him, Landon, the man she left me for, wearing designer jeans, sunglasses indoors, holding some fancy gift bag like he just stepped off a yacht. The room went quiet when they came in. You'd think the other parents would whisper or avoid eye contact. Nope. They stared like this was a reality show. Emily smiled wide, fake and glossy, then bent down to hug Tyler. "Happy birthday, baby," she chirped, loud and sweet. Landon stepped up beside her, gave my son a quick nod, then handed him a trash bag. A literal black trash bag. "Here," he said with a smirk. "Help your dad clean up later. This isn't a real home anyway." I stood there stunned, holding a slice of cake midair. My throat closed, and for a second, I genuinely couldn't breathe. Tyler looked up at me, confused, embarrassed, and then slowly took the bag. I wanted to punch Landon. Right there. Break his perfect teeth. But I didn't. I stayed silent. Because that's what I'd been doing for months. Keeping quiet, pretending, swallowing the humiliation like it was part of being a man. But then came the moment that snapped everything. Tyler opened his final gift. It was from me. A simple blue box. Inside, a framed photo. One I found 3 weeks ago but kept hidden until now. It was a selfie. Emily. Taken in our old bedroom. But here's the twist. She wasn't alone. Behind her, shirtless, smirking at the mirror, was Landon. I had printed it, framed it, and wrapped it. Not to ruin the party. Not to make a scene. But to show her I knew. When Tyler opened it, he looked confused. "What's this?" he asked. Emily rushed forward, snatched the frame from his hands. She turned pale, like someone pulled the blood straight from her skin. "You sick bastard," she hissed at me, loud enough for everyone to hear. What kind of father does this on his son's birthday? I didn't blink. Exactly the kind of father whose wife took that picture in their bed before running off with a man who insults his son in his own home. The silence in the room cracked like glass. One of the moms gasped. Emily's lip curled into a snarl. "You're pathetic." But I wasn't the one sneaking around. I wasn't the one bringing my new husband to a place I once called home, just to parade him around like a prize. "You want to talk pathetic?" I said, stepping closer. "You cheated on me while I was working night shifts to keep us afloat. You told me you were going to yoga classes. Meanwhile, you were getting cozy in hotel rooms I was paying for." Emily scoffed, crossed her arms. "Oh, please. You were boring. You always had to work. You never made me feel alive." Landon chuckled from the corner. I turned to him. "And you? What do you do for a living, besides sleeping with married women and insulting children?" He stepped forward like he was ready to square up. "Careful," he said low. "You're embarrassing yourself." I smiled. Not because it was funny, because it was over. I looked around the room, at the parents trying to avoid eye contact, at the kids who were too young to understand the drama but could feel the tension. Then I looked at Tyler. He was holding the trash bag. Quiet. Confused. Ashamed. And that broke me more than the cheating ever could. So I leaned down to my son and whispered, "You don't have to clean up, buddy. You did nothing wrong." He nodded. Emily stormed out with Landon dragging behind her, muttering insults under his breath. The room cleared quickly after that. And there I stood, next to balloons, crumbs, and the broken remains of what used to be a family. That was the day everything truly began to unravel. And I hadn't even told you how I discovered it all yet. I wish I could tell you that was the first moment I suspected something. But the truth is, I'd felt it for months. Maybe even a year. You know that feeling when someone still says the right things, but the warmth behind the words is gone? That was Emily. Still kissing me goodbye before work, still texting, "Love you" at noon, but her eyes had checked out long before her body did. It started small. She'd changed her passcode, claimed it was for work security. Then came the late nights. "Girls' night," she said. Always with the same excuse, same breathless laugh like I was being paranoid. But I'm not stupid. I've seen lies dressed up like loyalty before. The first real clue came when I found a receipt in her jacket. A hotel 2 towns over. One night, $218. She said she used it for a spa day with her friend Kristen. I called Kristen the next day. She sounded confused, then awkwardly said, "Oh, right. That spa day. Yep. Great time. They really think we're blind, don't they?" A week after that, I saw it. Her phone lit up on the counter while she was in the shower. The name said Lana, but the message read, "Last night was crazy. You looked amazing in my shirt." I didn't even touch the phone. Didn't need to. I already knew. My hands went cold, my stomach dropped. I walked to the bathroom door, stood there, listening to her hum, that stupid song she always played during showers. So casual. So smug. I wanted to burst in. Ask her who the hell Lana really was. But I didn't. Because I needed more. Not for revenge. For the truth. So I waited. I watched. And I started keeping notes. What time she left. When she got back. What she wore. What perfume she used. I was gathering evidence like a detective, except every page of my notebook stabbed a little deeper. Then came the night I followed her. I didn't mean to. I just couldn't sit at home anymore, knowing she was out there lying to my face. She said she was meeting Kristen again. I waited 20 minutes, then grabbed my keys and drove. She wasn't at Kristen's. Her car was parked at the Marriott near the airport. I parked across the lot, engine off, hands shaking. And that's when I saw them. Her and Landon. He looked like a damn billboard. Slick hair, cocky grin, hand on her lower back. She laughed that same fake laugh I used to love. They walked into the lobby holding hands. I didn't cry. Not then. I sat in my car for 2 hours, staring at the dashboard, trying to feel something other than numb. I wasn't shocked anymore. Just hollow. When she got home at 2 a.m., she smelled like cologne and hotel soap. I asked her how her night was. She said, "Boring. Kristen's new boyfriend showed up, so we just talked about girl stuff." I nodded, kissed her forehead, and that's when I knew I couldn't save it. I started sleeping in the guest room. Told her it was for work calls. She barely noticed. Or maybe she was relieved. Either way, she stopped asking. We became 2 strangers walking the same hallway, coexisting, acting. And through it all, Tyler kept asking why Mom was always busy. I didn't have the heart to tell him. Not yet. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But you don't drop bombs on a child when they're still learning to spell divorce. So I waited. Until the party. That frame I gave him. It wasn't just about shaming her. It was my line in the sand. When she turned white after seeing it, when Landon stood there frozen, when the whole room stared in silent horror, I didn't feel victory. I felt freedom. She could no longer lie her way out. She couldn't gaslight me with her twisted stories or fake affections. I had burned the bridge, and there was no going back. That night, after everyone left, I sat on the floor with Tyler. He was quiet. He asked me if Landon was going to come back. I said, "I don't know. But you and me, we're going to be just fine." He nodded, climbed into my lap. And for the first time in months, I felt something real. Pain, but also clarity. It wasn't about Emily anymore. It was about rebuilding, piece by painful piece. And I hadn't even confronted her yet. Not really. That part was coming. 3 days after the party, she showed up unannounced. Not that she ever respected boundaries. I was in the garage, fixing the broken leg on Tyler's toy table, something I said I'd do weeks ago, but never found the energy for. When I heard the door slam, I knew it was her. Emily always slammed doors like she owned the air inside the room. I didn't rush in. I let her find me. She stormed in like a hurricane wrapped in perfume and attitude. "You seriously thought that little stunt at the party was smart?" she snapped, heels echoing off the concrete. I didn't even look up. Worked better than lying. "Oh, spare me the wounded puppy act, Nate," she said, arms crossed, her nails tapping against her elbow. "You humiliated me in front of everyone." I put the wrench down slowly. "You humiliated yourself the moment you took that picture. The one in our bed." She rolled her eyes. "It was just a photo. You don't even know the full story." "Then tell me," I said. "I'm listening." She hesitated, then started pacing like she was on stage. "Fine. You want to hear it all?" Landon and I started talking months before I left. Yes, I was lonely. Yes, I needed something. You were never home. You were always working or tired or just checked out. Checked out. I snapped. I worked double shifts so we could pay off the mortgage 5 years early. I skipped promotions so I could coach Tyler's soccer team. Everything I did was for us. You wanted flowers and fireworks while I was busy building a damn life. She stepped closer, voice colder now. I didn't ask you to be a martyr, Nate. I asked you to be present. To make me feel something. Landon made me feel alive again. That word. Alive. Like I was death to her. You mean he let you play pretend? I said. Like some high school fantasy where the bad boy gives you attention. She scoffed. You're jealous. No, I said calmly. I'm disgusted. Silence. Then she said it. The line that broke whatever piece of me was still clinging to hope. I never loved you as much as I pretended to. The world went quiet after that. Even the wind outside seemed to pause, like the universe was holding its breath. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just looked at her. And for the first time, I saw her exactly as she was. A selfish, manipulative woman who wore charm like a mask, who smiled with lips full of lies and kissed me like she was buying time. I want full custody of Tyler, I said. Her jaw tightened. Excuse me. You heard me. You can play house with Landon all you want. But you don't bring our son into that circus. You brought your new husband into his birthday and let him insult me in front of our child. She stepped forward, voice rising. I am his mother. And I'm his father, I said, sharper now. And I'm done pretending you care about anyone but yourself. She laughed, a cruel, bitter sound. You really think a judge will give you full custody? Based on what, Nate? A photo? No. Based on everything. The neglect. The instability. The way you lie without blinking. I've been documenting things, Emily. All of it. Your hotel trips. Your sudden work emergencies. I have it all. Her face froze. Her mouth opened, then closed. She wasn't expecting that. She thought I'd just break and beg her to come back. Thought I was still that tired, loyal husband who made excuses for her. Not anymore. You want to fight? She whispered. Fine. But don't forget, I know you too. I looked her dead in the eyes. No, Emily. You never did. She stormed out again. Another slammed door. Another gust of perfume trailing in her wake. I stood in the garage for a long time after that, watching the sun hit the edge of Tyler's toy table. Everything felt different. Not better. Not yet. But clearer. The war had started, and I wasn't afraid to fight anymore. 2 weeks passed, each day heavier than the last. Tyler stayed with me that first weekend. Emily didn't even fight it. Probably needed time to make her new life look prettier on paper. She sent one-word texts, short and cold. Okay. Fine. Sunday. Tyler didn't ask much. He's a smart kid. He could feel the tension in the air like static before a storm. One night, while brushing his teeth, he asked, Is Mom mad at you? I knelt beside him, forced a smile. She's mad at a lot of things. But none of it's your fault. He nodded, stared at the mirror. Landon says our house is small. I froze. What do you think? He shrugged. I like it better. That was all I needed to hear. I didn't tell him I'd already started the paperwork. That I'd met with a lawyer named Curtis, a calm, middle-aged guy with kind eyes and a pit bull brain. He went through the custody forms like a surgeon. We'll make your case strong, he said. Just keep being a good dad. I did more than that. I became obsessed with routine. Breakfast at 7. Homework checked twice. Bedtime stories, even when my heart felt like ash. One night, Tyler asked if I could come to his school's Father's Day event. I laughed. Wouldn't miss it. He paused. Can Landon come too? That hit harder than I expected. I nodded slowly. If he does, it's okay. But I'll be there front row. Tyler smiled and hugged me like he was trying to fix something he didn't break. The next weekend, Emily came to pick him up. She honked from the driveway. Didn't even come to the door. Typical. Tyler ran out with his backpack. I followed to give her the schedule I'd printed out. When I reached her window, I noticed she wasn't alone. Landon sat in the passenger seat, texting with one hand, sipping from a cold brew with the other. He didn't even look at me. Emily wore sunglasses, chewing gum like a teenager. What? His allergy meds are in the front pocket. He missed one dose this week. Be careful. She rolled her eyes. I know how to parent, Nate. Then start acting like it. Her face hardened. You really think you're the better parent? You've been a wreck for months. Just because you play Mr. Superdad for a few weeks doesn't erase. Erase what? I cut in. That I was loyal? That I didn't lie? That I never brought some stranger around our son and let him disrespect me in front of him? Landon finally looked up, smirking. You done? I leaned slightly toward his side of the car. You say one more thing to my son about my home, and I promise you, Landon, I'll forget how much I've been holding back. He raised his eyebrows, half laughing. Is that a threat? No, I said. It's a warning. Emily put the car in gear. We're done here. As they pulled away, I watched the back seat through the window. Tyler didn't wave this time. He just stared at me with that same quiet worry I used to wear as a kid when my own parents fought behind closed doors. That night, I didn't sleep. I started writing a letter, to myself, to Tyler, to whatever version of me might lose this fight and need a reminder that he did everything he could. I wrote about the nights I stayed up when Emily didn't come home, about the excuses, the silence, the way her eyes went empty when she looked at me. I wrote about the day I found the hotel receipt, about the photo, about the birthday party. And then I wrote about Tyler, how he still giggled when he found a new dinosaur fact, how he lined up his toy soldiers every morning like they had jobs to do, how he once told me, "You're the fun parent, but you're also the safe one." I put that letter in a drawer I knew I'd never open again, because I didn't need reminders. I had scars now, and scars never forget. A few days later, Emily called. Her voice was shaky, almost like she'd been crying, though I didn't buy it. I need to talk, she said. About what? Not over the phone. Can I come by? I hesitated. Is Tyler okay? He's fine. This is about us. There was no us. Not anymore. But I agreed, because part of me wanted to hear what excuse she'd spin next. What I didn't expect was what she brought with her. She walked in with a manila envelope and a fresh bruise under her left eye. She didn't speak at first, just stood in the doorway like a ghost, that envelope clutched in her hand, sunglasses still on even though it was past sunset. I motioned toward the couch, and she stepped inside slowly, like every inch of the place reminded her of something she didn't want to remember. She sat, legs crossed tightly, eyes darting around the room like a trapped animal. I stayed standing, didn't offer her water, didn't ask how she was. She finally pulled the sunglasses off. The bruise was ugly, dark purple, stretching across her cheekbone. Swollen, fresh. I didn't say anything. I waited. She dropped the envelope on the coffee table. That's everything you asked for, she said. Voice hollow. Phone records. Receipts. I signed the custody modification. I looked down at the envelope, then back at her. Why now? She looked away. Because I'm tired, Nate. Tired of pretending. No, I said. Don't do that. Don't play the victim. You made your choices. Her eyes snapped to mine. Red, but not from tears. Rage still flickered behind them. I did, she said. And I regret a lot of them. Especially trusting Landon. I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. He hit you. She looked down, ran a finger along the bruise. Just once. Right. She gave a bitter laugh. Yeah, I know how that sounds. And let me guess. I said. You came here for sympathy? No, she snapped. I came here because I wanted you to know. I'm done fighting you. You win, Nate. Take Tyler. I'll still see him, but I'm not dragging him through court. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But it felt too easy. You're not doing this for him, I said. You're doing it because your fantasy fell apart, and now you need a new storyline. Her face twisted. You think I don't care about him? I think, I said slowly, you cared more about yourself. About feeling wanted. Desired. You wanted excitement, and you found it in a man who treats people like trash. She didn't deny it. She just stared at me. And for the first time in years, I saw something real flicker behind those eyes, shame. I let things get out of control, she said quietly. Landon's not who I thought he was. I didn't say anything. He started getting jealous, she continued. If I even looked at my phone for too long, he'd accuse me of texting you. He hated when I mentioned Tyler. Last night, he found a picture of the three of us from last summer. The one at the lake. I remembered that photo. Tyler on my shoulders, Emily laughing as the water hit her legs. A perfect day. A lie. He said I was still hung up on you, she whispered. Then he shoved me. I clenched my fists. You should have called the cops. She looked up at me. I did. He's gone. That caught me off guard. She stood, smoothing down her dress. I don't expect forgiveness, Nate. I wanted you to know. I'm not going to ruin your life anymore. I walked over to the envelope. Opened it. Inside were copies of everything. Exactly what Curtis said we needed. She'd even written a note giving up her right to primary custody. It felt surreal. After everything, the lies, the betrayal, the insults, the birthday party disaster, she was just handing it over. But I didn't trust it. Not fully. What's the catch? I asked. She hesitated, then said, no catch. Just, if Tyler asks about me, don't turn him against me. Please. I nodded once. Not a promise. But not a threat either. She turned to leave. Stopped at the door. Do you hate me? I took a long breath. I don't even know you. She flinched, then left without another word. When the door closed behind her, I locked it. Not out of fear. Out of finality. I stood there for a minute. Just breathing. No rage. No heartbreak. Just stillness. Then I went to Tyler's room. Picked up the dinosaur he left on the floor and tucked him in tighter. He mumbled something in his sleep and clutched the blanket. And I realized, for the first time in over a year, I wasn't afraid anymore. Not of being alone. Not of raising a son on my own. Not of starting over. Emily's storm had passed. But the next day brought a twist I didn't see coming. A letter. In the mailbox. No return address. Inside, a photo. Black and white. Emily. And Landon. In a hospital. She was in a gown. He was in cuffs. And the caption, scribbled on the back in messy handwriting, said, "You think it's over. It's not." I stared at that photo for a long time, my hands trembling, knuckles pale from the grip. What the hell was this? It wasn't the hospital room that rattled me. It wasn't even Landon in cuffs. It was the look on Emily's face. Smiling. Not bruised. Not broken. Not scared. Smiling. Like it was all a game. Like the whole damn thing. Her showing up with a shiner, the tears, the documents, the "I'm done fighting," was just another layer of her performance. I grabbed my phone and called Curtis. He picked up on the third ring. "Nate, I got something in the mail. I don't know what to make of it, but I need you to see it." I don't trust her. I explained everything. The envelope, the letter, the photo. Curtis was quiet for a moment, then said, "Bring it in. Today. And Nate, don't contact her. Don't respond to anything. Not until I check this out." I hung up and sat in my car for almost an hour outside his office before finally walking in. He examined the photo under the light like it was evidence from a crime scene. "I've seen things like this," he muttered. "Threats disguised as games. She's playing with fire. Trying to bait you. Trying to make you react." "Why?" I asked. "She already gave up custody. Because people like her don't let go. They spin out when they lose control. And now she's testing how far she can push you." I leaned back in the chair. My head pounded. "So what do I do?" He folded the photo, slid it into a folder. "You do nothing. I'll file for a no-contact provision first thing in the morning. We're sealing this up, Nate. No more visits. No more talks. We let the law handle her now." I nodded, but something still twisted in my gut. This wasn't over. Not because of a caption on a photo. Because I knew her. She always had one more move. Later that night, I put Tyler to bed early. Told him we'd go to the zoo tomorrow. He smiled like only a kid can smile. Pure, untouched by all the venom adults spew behind closed doors. I cleaned up the kitchen, loaded the dishwasher, and sat on the couch with a beer I didn't really want. Then my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One new video message. I didn't open it. Not right away. Something in my chest said, "Don't." But curiosity has teeth. I clicked it. The video opened with Emily. In that same hospital room. Hair perfect. Lipstick red. A little bandage still taped to her cheek, like she needed a prop to sell the drama. Then she turned the camera to Landon. He was cuffed to the bed. Face swollen. One eye black. Lip split. He didn't look like a threat. He looked like someone who had picked the wrong woman to play savior for. Emily's voice came through the phone. Sweet. Soft. I told him the truth, Nate. About me. About you. About Tyler. Then she turned the camera back to herself. "I've made mistakes," she said. "But I'm not the villain in your story. You are. You let me slip away. You made me feel invisible." She leaned in close to the lens. "And now you're going to raise my son in that dump of a house, thinking you won? You didn't win. You just don't realize the game changed." The screen went black. I sat there, motionless, like my heart had stalled. She was unraveling. Or worse, she was orchestrating something bigger than I could see. I called Curtis again. He didn't answer. I grabbed the keys, threw on a jacket, and opened the door, and nearly tripped over a box sitting on my porch. No label. No note. Just taped shut. I brought it inside, cut it open slowly. Inside, one of Tyler's toys. His favorite dinosaur. Broken in half. And under it, another photo. This one of Tyler, asleep in his bed. Taken from outside the window. My hands went cold. I checked every lock in the house. Every window. Every blind. Then I checked again. My phone buzzed once more. Unknown number. "You're not the only one watching anymore." My jaw clenched. This wasn't jealousy. This wasn't about heartbreak. This was war. And she had just made it personal. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the hallway outside Tyler's room with a baseball bat across my lap, eyes fixed on the front door, heart pounding like a war drum. Every creak of the walls, every gust of wind outside felt like it could be her, or someone she'd sent. At 3:17 a.m., I finally called the cops. Told them about the package, the picture, the text. An officer came by, made a report, asked a few questions in that half-interested tone cops use when they think it's just some drama between exes. But when I showed him the photo of Tyler sleeping, my son, something shifted in his posture. This wasn't sent from a delivery service? He asked. No, just showed up on my porch. He nodded, scratched something into his pad. We'll have someone drive by the area for the next few nights. Keep the photo. And if you see anything, you call us immediately. He left, and I stood at the door, watching his cruiser disappear down the street. I knew that patrol wouldn't be enough. She was escalating. Emily had never been the type to scream and break things. She did her damage quietly, with charm, with whispers, with poison hidden behind a smile. But now she wasn't hiding. She dropped the act. This wasn't about custody. This wasn't about Tyler. This was about control. The next morning, I kept Tyler home from school. Said it was a dad day. He didn't ask questions. He just smiled, pulled his blanket over his shoulders, and curled up on the couch with his cartoons. I texted Curtis. Still no answer. I called twice. Voicemail. Then I drove to his office. The receptionist looked up from her desk, startled. Mr. Bailey isn't in today. When was the last time you saw him? She hesitated. Yesterday. He left early. Seemed off. I left my number, told her to have him call me the second he returned. Back in the car, I checked my phone again. Nothing. Not even from her. I started going through every memory with Emily, every odd conversation over the past few years, looking for cracks I missed, red flags, signs. And then it hit me. She used to joke that she could make anyone disappear with a smile. Back then, I thought it was a reference to how people gravitated toward her. Now, it sounded like a confession wrapped in a joke. I drove straight to my friend Derek's place. Old army buddy. 6'3", built like a wrecking ball, and not the type to ask too many questions. He opened the door in his sweats, looked me over once, and said, "You look like hell." I handed him the photo. "She's watching my house. Sent this last night." He studied it, eyes narrowing. "You call the cops?" "They made a report. But it won't be enough. She's unhinged." Derek nodded once. "You're staying here tonight. You and Tyler. I need to keep eyes on the house. I'll post up outside. Let her try something." That night, Tyler slept in Derek's guest room. I sat in the living room while Derek watched the front through the blinds with the same cold stare he used to have when we ran missions overseas. At 1:43 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "You moved?" Cute. My blood froze. I ran to the window. No cars. No shadows. Nothing. Then another text. "He sleeps on his left side. Just like you." I ran to the guest room, heart hammering, breath short. Tyler was there. Safe. Still asleep. But the damn window was open half an inch. I slammed it shut and locked it, cursing myself for missing it earlier. Derek came in, gun drawn, eyes sharp. "She's nearby," I said, voice low, tight. She was here. We stayed up the rest of the night. Nothing else happened. No more texts. No knocks. No cars creeping by. But something inside me shifted permanently. This wasn't just about a failed marriage, or betrayal, or even revenge. Emily had become something else. Something feral. Manipulative wasn't even the word anymore. She was calculated, obsessive, and now she was dangerous. I wasn't afraid for myself anymore. I was afraid for my son. The next morning, I called a private investigator. Not because I wanted dirt, because I needed leverage. Because whatever game she thought she was playing, I was about to flip the board. The private investigator's name was Grant. Ex-law enforcement, mid-50s, looked like he hadn't smiled since '98. He didn't ask why I needed him, just nodded when I showed him the photo of Tyler, the package, and the texts. "You want her watched?" he said. "I want to know everything," I replied. "Where she goes, who she talks to, what her endgame is." He nodded once and slid his card across the table. "Give me a week." I didn't have a week, but I didn't argue. Because in war, you don't scream. You prepare. I spent those days like I was sleepwalking. Every sound outside sent a jolt through me. Every flicker of light, every shadow past the window, it all looked like her. Curtis finally called on the third day. His voice was hoarse. Tired. Sorry, he said. Was in the hospital. What? I got jumped, Nate. Leaving my office. 2 guys. No wallets taken. No phones touched. Just a beating. My stomach dropped. You think it was her? I don't know. But this isn't about court anymore. You need to be careful. He agreed to file for an emergency protective order. Said it'd take 48 hours. Maybe less. That night, I slept in a chair outside Tyler's door with a knife tucked in the cushion. But the attack never came. Instead, something else did. Grant called at 6:30 the next morning. You're gonna want to see this. He sent me a video file. No subject. Just a timestamp. I opened it. And what I saw made my skin crawl. It was security footage. Inside a motel room. Emily. In the corner. Facing away from the camera. And a man, not Landon, leaning against the dresser, zipping up his pants. They spoke, but there was no audio. The man handed her an envelope. She took it, counted the bills, smiled. Grant's voice came through the line. She's been working these motels for months. Fake names. New guys. Same pattern. I sank into the chair. She's selling herself? Not just that, he said. She's setting them up. Blackmail. Claims they hurt her. Threatens court. Families. Jobs. Most pay to keep quiet. I couldn't breathe. He kept going. And there's more. Landon never hit her. He filed a police report before she did. Claimed she hit him with a lamp during an argument about custody. I was speechless. She's unraveling, Grant said. But smart enough to cover it. She uses your son as a shield. Makes herself look like the victim. Classic narcissist move. I didn't say anything. I was too busy watching the video again. Watching the woman I once loved exchange cash like it was nothing. Smile like a snake. I had to end it. For good. So I filed. Full custody. Emergency protective order. Restraining order. All of it. Curtis fast-tracked it. The judge approved it. And just like that, Emily was legally barred from coming within 500 feet of Tyler or me. When she got the notice, she showed up one last time, banging on Derek's front door like a banshee. You think this is over, Nate? She screamed from the porch. You think you can take everything from me? I opened the door just wide enough for her to see my face. I didn't take anything, I said. You threw it away. You think you're the good guy now? The savior? You're a coward. You were always boring. Always small. I stepped out onto the porch, calm as I'd ever been. Maybe. But small doesn't mean weak. You don't get to come back. You don't get to scare us anymore. She lunged forward, but Derek was already behind me. And 2 squad cars were already pulling up at the curb. She froze. Saw the uniforms. And for the first time in years, she looked afraid. They arrested her for violating the order. She screamed the whole time. Cursed. Called me every name in the book. I stood there, watching, silent. And Tyler never saw any of it. 3 months passed. Tyler laughed more now. Slept better. Ate better. I sold the old house. Got a new place closer to his school. Simple. Bright. Ours. Every now and then, I'd catch him staring out the window, like he still expected her to show up. One night, he asked, Is Mom gone forever? I didn't lie. She's gone for a long time. But you're safe. That's all that matters. He nodded. And we moved on. It's not perfect. Healing never is. There are still scars, on me, on him. But we're stronger. Wiser. I learned something through all of it. You can love someone and still need to let them go. You can survive betrayal and still build something better. You don't win by hurting back. You win by protecting what matters. And if I had one piece of advice to give anyone, never ignore the quiet lies. They're the loudest in the end.